What's up, Freedom Tube? How you guys been? I know it's been a little while since I made a video, but I want to talk to you guys about the Occupy my mom's basement protest that I'm partaking in right now. No, not really. I want to talk about the Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Denver stuff going on, Occupy everything, Occupy all streets, I guess, whatever you call it, like the protests going on in multiple cities now around the country. And I went down to the Occupy Denver protest. Actually, I had to walk by their march. I was impressed. There was a lot of people out there. I was walking by. I didn't really know what was going on yet. And there must have been 200 or 300 people probably marching out in front of the Capitol on Colfax 2 days ago. And when I came back through town later that night, I went down in front of the Capitol and talked to some of the people and saw what they had going on. And like they have a food booth set up, and they have water, and they're accepting donations, and they're feeding protesters, and it's pretty interesting and unique. And I came back later because they told me they had a general assembly going on at 7 o'clock. And I sat through a lot of it and walked around, talked to some people, and I just kind of wanted to tell you guys what I thought about it. And this is a real interesting phenomenon because, like, there's no cohesive leadership. Like, there's a lot of people from different causes that are united around we're not happy with what's going on and we want change. But I'm wondering what's going to come out of it because it's such a diverse group of people who just aren't content. And like it's good. I like seeing this much, what's the word for lack of apathy? I don't know. This much enthusiasm out there. Like it's good to see people that care, and it was really nice to see, 200 or 300 people marching in the street. Like they had different signs for a lot of different causes, and a lot of them I agreed with. Some of them, I don't know, kind of seemed communist or whatever, but like not all of them. By no means would I say it's like a commie thing. It's a diverse group of people. In the Fed, people were down there. Some people, I talked to a few people who were pissed about corporations with people status. It was an eclectic mix. But what troubles me is there's no definable goals. There's no, what are you guys trying to get out of this? Like I don't see the clear leadership, and like at some, I don't know, to some degree that makes it a real interesting and a real powerful movement. Like here I am just expressing my opinion to the world. Like it was cool. But at the other times it's like, so what? We're down here protesting, but what? Like what are we even for? I don't know if I agree with all you guys. Like, what's the cause? It was something I haven't really seen before. But nonetheless, I'm excited. I would tell you guys to go down there and check it out and support. If you're down there for whatever cause, like, there's people that are like-minded and want to see change. So, I don't know. I feel like it was an interesting place, and I don't know, it kind of creeped me out a little bit. At the General Assembly, there's like this big circle, and everybody was talking, and like, it didn't really creep me out per se, but like, it was, what is it called? Too parliamentary or something, like, orders of procedure and direct responses, and like, it's hard for a group of, 70 kids to really come together and cohesively talk, like really what are we talking about? Because everyone has their things, their top few priorities that they want to say, and it can kind of be like, well, I'm going to say this, and I'll raise my hand, and like it went around, but I was still like, wow, there's a huge movement of people in this country right now that are just fed up and they want change, and we don't know where it's going. It's just we're taking to the streets and some shit's changing, like it might fizzle out, I don't know, but I would encourage you to go express yourself. One thing I'll notice is when they were in front of the Capitol later, when I went down, even for the General Assembly, a lot more people were honking, like driving by, because there's people out there, honk if you agree with this and that, and like there was a lot of support. EMS, paramedics, fire trucks. A fire truck went by, gave us the honk. Like there's a lot of people, even workers, that want change, and like I almost feel like a lot of these Occupy Wall Street people are the disenfranchised, man. Like you can't be out there camping out if you have a job. Like it's people who just, like I want, like who's gonna take the leadership here? Is it gonna be kids camping out there, or is it gonna be some working class people that join in here? Or like what? How is this gonna shape out? And like what are the goals that they decide on even gonna be? Like what do we want? Like it might end up being we all realize that we can't get along and it's politics as usual, and fizzle out. But I think this is different. I think people are fed up. Another common thing I heard down there was, we are the 99%. Like, I was going to a job interview, so I was dressed up in, nice shirt, khakis and everything. I kind of felt like out of place because whatever. But there was like old people. There was this old lady who's like, "You're one of the 99% too." You know, I was like, "I know," but I think she assumed that I thought I was some ritzy ass fucking corporate kid walking around in a suit or something. You know, but I think the American people want change, and I think that is the one thing you can get out of all of us taking to the streets in all the cities now. I saw what happened in New York, shutting down the Brooklyn Bridge. That is crazy. Like, that is real change. And now the mainstream media is covering it. They have to. Like, you guys made a big enough scene, shut down that shit, and it got on the news, which is good because it was a nonviolent protest. If anything, the cops look like assholes there. Like, whatever. When 1,000 people want to take over a bridge, that's freedom of fucking speech. But what I want to talk about was what's going to come of this? What are the definable goals? What do the protesters want to accomplish? Because I think we need to unify behind common ground and drop some of the petty shit. You know what I mean? Like, a few of the people were talking about, I guess, New York. The New York Occupy Wall Street has an official list of demands that they want. And this hat is funny. I got it at a thrift store. It's a fucking Jameson whiskey hat. But a few of the protesters were talking about the NYC demands, and I don't know if I agree with them, like, and prioritizing them, because it's a long list, it's too much. Like, we need to get this into a simple 3 to 5 point checklist of demands. That was another thing I heard from a lot of people. Like, we want a simple, voiced opinion that, like, it's easy for people to say, and, like, I don't know, not some chaotic, you know, clusterfuck of liberal fucking Tea Party, whatever. Like, there needs to be some direction to this movement. I think a lot of people feel that, but will it come together is a question. And I wanted to tell you kind of how I feel, because there are causes that I support that I'm willing to just drop, stand back, and say this is not as important as some of the other stuff right now. And I think the main goals that I really support, that I feel common ground with a lot of the occupiers of Wall Street, are things that we all can get behind. And I just wanted to share what those were so that maybe we can start to say, you know what, we all want this, and we can stop bickering about, you know, flag burning or fucking petty shit like that. Not that anybody is bickering about flag burning, but I'll just say it real quick. The things that I support, but I'm willing to leave out of this debate because it's whatever. I just want a unified, cohesive public that can agree on at least this much. One, I know 9/11 is a bunch of bullshit and we need a new investigation now, and I'm not going to get into any of that truth or shit here because I can, whatever, we'll put it aside for now. Two, I'm voting for Ron Paul in 2012, and I think he's the best whatever. I'm not going to go down there and talk about Ron Paul because we're putting that behind us. That's not what this is about. Three, I support a resource-based economy and changes kind of like the Zeitgeist movement and Venus Project, but that's not here right now. We're going to talk about that's fucking, I don't know, that's complex theory or something. Like, this is the here and now. Four, I support boycott Israel and free Palestine. We're not even going to go there right now because that's a totally different issue. We're talking about Occupy America and what's going on now. The last one that I have, it's bring back the Homestead Act and let the property bubble deflate gracefully. I'm tempted to include that as a goal that I think this Occupy Wall Street thing could get behind, but fuck it. That's too revolutionary, too out there. I have a video on my channel if you want to check it out later. Check it out later. I'd invite you all to subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to my channel if you made it this far. Independent politics, you know, I'm probably just as qualified as some asshole on Fox News to commentate, right? But what goals did I see that I think all of Occupy Wall Street could get behind? One, stop the wars. Stop the fucking wars. It's that simple. What mainstream media candidate is for stop the wars? Barack Obama promised he would before he got elected. And I'm going to insert the clip right now so you can see I'm not lying.
I will promise you this, that if we have not gotten our troops out by the time I am president, it is the first thing I will do. I will get our troops home. We will bring an end to this war. You can take that to the bank.
Right. Why are we fighting these wars? Why is the mainstream media selling us these wars? You know, are people getting rich? Like, we're borrowing money to fight wars? That's insane. Like, hey, I'm going to go to my bank and ask if I can take out, you know, $50,000 to declare war on my neighbor. That's a good investment, right? Stop the wars. And I tried to say this at the fucking General Assembly thing at the Occupy Denver meeting. And I got a look from a lot of people like, wow. Like, I'll tell you first, too, because I showed up a little bit late, and I sat down next to, it was just an open spot in this big circle. It was like 70 kids in a circle just talking politics. And I sat down, I was like, hey, did I miss talking about ending the war? You know, have we gone over, like, the wars we can't afford, blah, blah, blah? And the kid next to me, I don't know where he was from, he had a real thick accent, but he's like, no, what we should be, that's the kind of stuff we need to talk about. So I sat around, observed for a while, saw this whole mic check, hi, my name is, we're all going to repeat everything back, like this is some crazy hippie protest, and kind of creeped me out at least, but whatever, like I can understand, like there's no megaphone, it's a bunch of kids talking, it's kind of crazy, but I observed it to the point where it's like, alright, I want to speak my mind, and I just said, you know, one issue that I think we all agree on is, let's end these wars. And I could see, not everybody, a lot of kids kind of looked at me like, that was refreshing, like they didn't look at me like they necessarily agreed, but they look kind of like, that's not what I've been hearing on the news. That's not a voice you often hear on the corporate media. Like, we're fighting for-profit wars we can't afford. Everyone agrees on that. I know the wars are for bullshit reasons. Like, we could go into 9/11 truth, but I'm going to leave that aside. What are we fighting for? We already got Osama. Barack already promised he'd stop it. We can't afford this shit. It's clear cut. Let's stop it. It's a for-profit war, and are you one of the fucking 1% of America that's profiting off of that? Or are you one of the 99% who's paying for it? Maybe you have fucking friends or family over there fighting in it, and on top of that, every time we drop bombs on some city, it just makes people hate us around the world. Like, I want to be able to go snowboard in Iran and some other places in the world without having to be a fucking American infidel, whatever. Like, I don't know. We're not going there. That's a different movie. That's a different topic. Stop the wars. But when I said it, like, a few people were kind of like, ooh, hush, hush. Like, that's too diversive. It wasn't many, but it was a few people. And it tripped me out because they were kind of the people that were kind of trying to take leadership in this, like, adopting, maybe it was just me interpreting it wrong, but like the whole, what was it, raising our hands and like we're pointing out, like, 'cause some people are, if you're up there pointing out who's going to speak next, you're taking leadership. And like, one, who the fuck are you kind of like, I'm not saying anyone specifically, but I noticed a few people, because I looked around and I said it, a few people were like, ooh, don't go there, we're not talking about that, like, that's divisive. No, I think everybody in America wants to fucking stop these fucking wars at this point. That's why we voted for Obama. That's why Obama promised beforehand. And like, at this point, I'm just going to say it. Maybe some people, for whatever reason, think the war is some holy cause and they got family fighting in it and don't want to think, God forbid, they're fighting an unjust war. But we need to address, do we really want to be fucking broke here with our troops all around the world? Like, that's how Nazi Germany collapsed. The whole world against them, like, that's how fucking the Roman Empire, like, when you play Risk, if you spread your shit out too thin, you end up losing. I mean, it's a simple board game, and that doesn't, whatever, you know, make for a perfect analogy, but why are we fighting these fucking wars that we can't afford? And is that making any of your lives better? Because it's not making my life better, that's for sure. And I think everybody agrees. I think 90% of the people out occupying Wall Street agree. Like, if you agree with me, give me the thumbs up right now in this video, please, because that is a huge issue. That's easy issues that I think we all can get behind. Like, hey, we want our troops brought home. Fucking Obama promised it. Why are we still fighting the wars? Like, every mainstream media candidate, except for Ron Paul, is not saying, let's bring our troops home. And the media is trying to make Ron Paul sound crazy. It's crazy. Like, that's why we need an alternative media. That's why I'm here speaking my mind, saying how I feel, because at least if you're hearing this, fuck. You can hear a real American, a real opinion, not some corporate bullshit. There's no teleprompter here. There is no teleprompter here. There's me coughing and drinking fucking water. Second point I think we all can adopt, and this one might not be as easy, but end the Fed. You know about it. I'm not going to go into it. I think we can end the Fed. I think that is a lot of our fucking problem. I have written down here more than that. I have in the Fed and the fractional reserve banking system. One kid at the fucking Denver thing was talking about the Glass-Steagall Act and the provisions that separated banks that held onto our money from like investment banks that gambled with our money, and how once they removed provisions to prevent that, well, all this shit happened. And I'm not going to go into that, but hey, do we support in the Fed? I support it. I think more than 50% of the people out occupying Wall Street probably realize, hey, they're playing games with our money, and that's not helping me. That's fucking devaluing my money, thanks. So I got Stop the Wars in the Fed. This one's kind of wild, but it makes good sense to me. Remove monetary fines from the justice system and licensing fees. I'm talking about, if I get a DUI or a fucking speeding ticket or anything, there's a monetary fine. And it might be $200, it might be $5,000, it might be $10,000. That is not equal punishment because we all don't have the same amount of money. Like, $10,000 is more than I made last year, probably. Like, if I got that shit, that's a whole year's worth of my wages just gone. When somebody else, some rich-ass banker, could just, there you go. Like, on top of that, I can get a good lawyer if I have money, so I might not even get convicted, or I might get my shit dropped down. Like, money shouldn't be a fucking thing. Like, if you did something bad enough or you're a danger to society and you need to go to prison, well, we're going to remove you from society. But until that point happens, like, finding all these kids, like, I'm broke as a motherfucker. Don't find me shit. And licensing fees, a lot of fucking shit. Like, I made a list. Driver's license, hunting permits, building permits, guns. Like, a lot of people go to jail for unregistered guns, but if they had $5,000 to give to the ATF to get their shit permitted properly, it would have been a registered weapon. Like, it's goofy, but, like, everything costs money. I have operating a still here. I like to make my own beer, and I would be making my own alcohol or distilled liquor to drink and maybe to try to run vehicles on. But look up how fucking difficult it is to get a permit to distill anything, even water, in America. Like, they do not let you operate stills without paying a shit ton of money for permits. Like, everything costs money. And really, if I was out there trying to start my own whiskey business or something, is that bad for America? Or would you rather I'm out here trying to collect a fucking welfare check? Like, think about it. But I heard some kids talking about equal pay. I think that's on the New York official list of things that I don't agree with. Equal pay, one, that's not a good talking point. Is that communism? Is it socialism? Like, it doesn't mean anything, and I think that turns a lot of people away. So rather than me saying equal pay here, I think addressing the other side of the problem and removing the monetary fucking factors from our legal system and all those licensing fees is a good place to start. And, people might say, well, those licensing fees, fund fucking whatever, different organization, the wildlife department or whatever, like, raise taxes on the rich. I don't care, fucking whatever. I mean, I just don't like that fucking, they hand out fines. Like, if I get a $150 fine when I don't have any money, that is not equal to somebody who gets fucking a $150 fine who has fucking $5,000 every week in income. Like, that's a good place to start. Another thing I have that I think everybody can agree with, and I don't know how to really apply it, but it's an idea or a theme that I think Occupy Wall Street represents. Establish, develop, and promote independent media and free sharing of ideas via the internet and free speech. That's why I'm here right now. Like, it's one thing to go to a group meeting and sit around in a circle and raise my hand and try to express myself every minute or two, if I have a feeling that I want to say. But that's not as deep as me putting this online, saying what I feel, and then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to sleep. And anyone who gets on and downloads this in the next week, or not downloads it, watches it in the week while I'm asleep, while I'm doing whatever, I'm still out there working 24/7. I mean, it's me here talking to you now. Like, the internet is our friend here in this friendly revolution. And right now I just want to invite you, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Fucking, it's me or the corporate assholes on the news, right? You can listen to both of us and decide. Fairly balanced, I'd say. 5. This one might be a little bit controversial too, but I think everyone in Occupy Wall Street can get behind this. Forgive student loan debt and transition towards a free higher education system. And what I'm talking about is education for free. Like, college shouldn't cost an arm and a leg. College costs more than fucking a lot of people's houses. Now that I'm done with school, or gave up on school and don't have a degree, whatever you want to call it, for the time being, it's like, goddamn, I wish I had a house instead of fucking 5 years of my life wasted. Looking back over some of what I recorded earlier, thinking about the events more from a day later in a different perspective, there was a lot of chaos and disorganization. They're trying to form different committees and whatnot, and some people have jobs, so they leave and they can't make every meeting or whatever. Some people like are just there, a couple days a week, but they still want to be organized in the media committee, and it's tough. But when 70 people are in a circle sitting around, you kind of do have to raise your hand to talk. I can't just stand up and be like, all right, this is the fucking my show now. Like, that's not here. Like, but I felt like I was in school. Like, I'm in a leadership class in college right now, and like most days we just sit around and talk. And like it's kind of stupid because I kind of think like, wow, I'm paying this much money to sit around and talk to a bunch of kids who, I mean, honestly, I can do this in the park for free. I did it last night in the park for free. Like, yeah, this is how I feel about politics. This is what I think about my leaders. And like, I almost feel like when I talk about free education, these kids shouldn't be sitting around in a park, at night. Like, they should be in a classroom. They should be, we shouldn't be building a fucking, what is it, a fucking water and food station on the sidewalk. We have a fucking nice campus right downtown. We should be saying, hey, we're going to occupy the fucking lounge here. We're going to occupy this building, and we're going to sit down here and we're going to talk politics in the comfort of a fucking nice, I don't know, lecture hall, fucking campus building, whatever, food court, cafeteria, anything. And the other thing, too, the New York list about end the war on drugs, no, we need to end the war on victimless crimes altogether. That could be all drugs, not just marijuana, that's prostitution, that's driving without car insurance, that's all the stupid crimes. Like, we need to stop the prison industrial complex. We have way too many people locked up in prison, and way too many people who just don't give a fuck. They make money every time some person has to go through the legal system for anything. Like, we need to stop locking people up. Like, I think a lot of Occupy Wall Street people can agree. Like, look at the 700 people who are probably sitting in jail still for occupying that Brooklyn Bridge. I respect y'all. The whole idea that we can go into debt just to try to better ourselves and do what should be good for the country, like, you don't know what some of these people have the potential to do. But if I want to go down to some free class and study something, that's good for our country. It's either that or we have a bunch of uneducated morons running around here and we see where that takes us. Like, one thing I want to say too, thinking back about it, because last night I was a little bit just like, wow, that was a weird experience talking to all those people. And the whole group circle thing, raising our hands and like matter of parliamentary whatever. I don't even remember what they were saying, but like it was just goofy. Like, and like at some point, I mean, they were trying to formulate issues. They were trying to figure out what are the most important issues to us, but we couldn't. There was no cohesive, whatever. They made some committees. There's a media committee. There's kitchen committee. They're accepting donations. Like, I still encourage everybody that if you can donate bottled water, I know they need. Whatever. If you have food for some reason, like somebody was donating 2x4s, and I don't know where they got them from. Like, it was on the top of his fucking SUV, and like people were just going by, honking, showing support. They stopped, like, hey, take these 2x4s, and they were building up like little fucking tarps and shit because they are putting in a food booth right down there on the sidewalk. Like, they're feeding everybody. They're feeding homeless people. Like, I will say I got a positive vibe out of the overall experience. Like, I feel like there's people that mean well down there, and we just need to unite and find common grounds that we can all get behind. I feel like I'm missing some things here. I'm going to look over my list. The New York official lists of demands, 3 things that I had heard on it that I thought we should just drop because they're too divisive, too controversial. The first one is the death penalty. I agree. I don't want the death penalty in my country. Like, whatever, but this is not the time or the place. That's on the list of fucking me talking about Ron Paul or 9/11 truth right now when there's such potential to make real change right in front of us. Like, yeah, we'll keep it on the back burner, like sometime, One, removing the monetary shit from that. If you can make it so everyone has equal lawyer or access to lawyers, that's a totally different question, but whatever. To me, this is not about ending the death penalty. This is not about abortion rights or anything like that. This is about now, the practical, and like... It's too divisive. Equal pay. What is that? Communism? Socialism? It sounds like some fucking... It doesn't sound like anything. It's divisive. Like, people, it's too easy for Fox News to just whatever. 3, the last one. Somebody stood up and said they wanted to end the war on drugs and started talking about marijuana and how Denver has been the only state to make it our constitutional right and our state constitution to use medical marijuana, which is awesome. The rest of you states need to catch up to that. But... one, if we're going to talk about ending the war on drugs, it's more than marijuana. And like that comes into some border questions. That's a different video too. Like, yeah, securing that border is good, but like ending the war on drugs first will make that a lot easier. Like, And on top of that, this whole marijuana economy, the medical marijuana economy here in Colorado and California, it's, I don't know, being, I guess, oppressed in Michigan, but coming up in Michigan right now. It's in a lot of states right now, like, it's goofy, and we just need to get back to the freedom of it. If you smoke marijuana, go grow it in your back fucking yard, and if you can grow it and sell it on the side, there's, benefit for our economy, and it's better than some fucking shit coming across the border in Mexico with God knows what sprayed on it to get across the border without being smelled by dogs. Like, keep American business local. That is a good theme, I think. And the last question that I wanted to present to the movement as a whole, the Occupy Wall Street, the question of, I just have this written here, if the movement should denounce socialism and communism in favor of working within our capitalist system to improve the welfare system, to efficiently meet the needs of all our citizens so everyone has basic necessities met, such as organic food, healthcare, housing, and I think that we could do that. The technology is there, so that, like, really this whole cost of living shit, no, like, they keep poverty around so that we all keep trying to sign up for an $8 an hour job when the fucking average house in the fucking city of Denver costs $300,000. Like, that is insane. And, like, this real estate bubble needs to fucking fall gracefully. There's a few things that are propping that up, or it's already been propped up, but I just want to talk about farm subsidies, like corporate fucking welfare. They give all these fucking corporate farms money to go fucking grow one crop, corn for, hundreds of thousands of acres. Like, that is not natural. That happens nowhere in nature. But somehow they think it's good for us, and they let genetically modified shit into that. So we're all eating a bunch of genetically modified corn syrup. Like, no, when I'm talking about organic food and farm subsidies, I like the idea of bringing back the Homestead Act. I think if I want to go claim some land and just live on it and build myself an earthship, which is a hippie word for whatever, this really ingenious house that I'm going to show you right now, that heats and cools itself just from the energy of the sun and, like, the way it's insulated. But, like, these ingenious houses are also built out of materials that should be pretty much free. I'm talking about tires and aluminum cans and some mud. But in many areas, building code restricts this kind of building. We need to start adapting to the future. And that might mean some of us unemployed kids are going out into the fucking country and starting little farms and houses and new businesses, and hey, at least I'm going to raise some chickens and take care of myself. Or that might mean that fucking, if we're going to have all these fucking farm subsidies, I expect to get some food back, and I want organically grown shit that's not genetically modified. And I think most of the people out protesting do too. But that might not be this issue either. Maybe we should let that go to the side. What I will say is, I think the movement as a whole should denounce socialism and communism. I favor a resource-based economy, which is different than capitalism, but for the time being, we could very easily work within our capitalist system. We have a lot of good stuff going. We have the internet. In theory, our fucking democratic republic is set up so that we can impeach some of these assholes and get real fucking Americans in there who represent us and not Goldman Sachs, to fucking change this shit. Like, if we did say, hey, we're going to fucking raise taxes a little bit, stop these wars to get so much money saved once we get our troops home, we could make college free. We could fucking remove the regulations stopping me from going out into some open space and saying, I'm starting a little farm on the outskirts of town and I'm going to raise my own organic food and get off fucking welfare. Like, maybe, God forbid, I fucking start growing some grapes and distilling fucking wine or spirits that I sell and generate fucking income for our GDP. Like, it's about freedom. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. That's my feelings on this. You guys should all be posting videos. Like, this is, I don't know. Fuck it. I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna let fucking the avatar fucking computer land me keep talking to you guys online. Adios.